Shalom, family. It's good to see everybody here. I hope everybody is doing well, and I hope you had a very blessed Sunday. So, we're going to talk about how our people, our melanated people, are growing rapidly in some states across the U.S. Now, some, of course, is immigration, some is having babies, and some reasons are relocation, and people relocate for many reasons. And, one of the number one reasons is work. So I have to tell you, some of the states I was really surprised to see such a big increase in our people because it's states we normally would not be in the past. We wouldn't be in certain states, but that is now gradually changing. And it just goes to show you no matter how hard they have tried to keep us down, it still did not stop us from growing. And trust me, they tried everything, everything you could possibly think of. And it did not fully succeed. All right, let me share my screen because I want to show you this chart. Let's see, here we go. Okay, I want to show you this chart. Maybe I can just take myself off so I can make it more like a full screen. And it shows you a breakdown of where we grew the most. And the states that you see in dark green, that's where we grew the most. Rhode Island, Minnesota, Iowa, of all places, Utah, Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington State, Hawaii. You know, but what shocked me was Iowa and Utah. And I was like, are you kidding me? We grew rapidly in those states? Yes, we did. Those are two states I would not have expected. That for me was shocking to see how much our people have grown in those states. So, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this new report that came out about where we have grown the fastest in the US. No, not all of Utah is really that bad. Now, if you're going to live in a rural area, yeah, I would not recommend you going in no rural areas. But, if you're in the city, you should be fine in the city. That's where a lot of our people tend to be. And, it's nothing wrong with that. You just got to look at the population before you decide to move into certain states, you know? Look, even Rhode Island, that's one of those states that's been very predominantly white for a long time, but we grew more than 50% in that state. And that's not a very friendly state here on the East Coast either. I can tell you that with a certainty. All right. So let's get into the report that came out from Pew. So these are key facts about the growing, as they put it, Black population. So the number of Black people living in the United States has reached 48.3 million as of 2023. So that is up 33% since 2000, according to a Pew Research Center analysis of government data. This group is diverse, with an increasing number who say they are two or more races. So for Black History Month, there are key facts about the nation's Black population. This analysis, the population includes three main groups: a single race, non-Hispanic Hispanic Black people, and non-Hispanic multiracial Black people, and Black Hispanics. So that's what the group is made of when it comes down to this report. So the Black Hispanics, we also are known as Afro Latinos. All right. So the Black population in the US has grown by a third since 2000. So in 2000, we were 36.2 million back then. We are now 48.3 million as of 2023, which means we're probably bigger than that now. I would not doubt if we're more like 50 million or even more. I think they're lying about our numbers anyway, but we're going to go with what they're claiming. Notably, the number of people who identify as another race in addition to Black has increased 269%, which means there's a lot of brothers and sisters out here birthing biracials. I'm just saying, that's a big increase, 269%. The number who say they are Hispanic has increased 210%. This increase in racial diversity among Black Americans reflect a broader national shift of the number of Americans identifying as multiracial. At the same time, the arrival of new immigrants from Africa, the Caribbean, and elsewhere has been an important contributor to the Black population growth. So, the Black population has grown the fastest in states that historically have not had many Black residents. Yeah, that's why I was shocked when I looked at some of them. Utah experienced the fastest growth in the Black population between 2010 and 2023, with an increase of 89%. That is like crazy in a place like Utah. Wow. But I heard, you see a lot of us in Salt Lake City. So, wow, 89% in Utah. The Black populations of Arizona, Nevada, and Minnesota each increased by 60% during that same span, which makes it the next fastest growing rate among the states with Black populations of at least 25,000 in 2010. The states that experienced the largest numerical increases in Black residents between 2010 and 2023 are also those with the largest Black populations overall. Texas jumped up 1.2 million Black residents. Florida went up 800,000. Georgia, 610,000. That's how much of the Black population grew in those states. The Black population in each of these states have surpassed that of New York, which had the largest Black population in 2010. So Texas, Florida, and Georgia all surpass New York as of now. Meanwhile, the Black population declined in Mississippi. Illinois, it went down in both states to -2%. So it was more people leaving the states of Mississippi and Illinois than moving into those states. That's what happened. And the same thing happened in the District of Columbia, which is at a -1. So that means more of our people left the District of Columbia than they moved into that state. So that's between 2010 and 2023. The New York City metropolitan area had more Black residents than any other metro area in 2023. About 3.8 million Black Americans lived in the New York metro area that year. Metro areas with the next largest Black population include Atlanta, which is 2.3 million, DC, 1.8 million, and Chicago, 1.7 million. As a share of the population, the Atlanta area had a higher percentage of Black residents than any other metro area, with at least 1 million Black residents. Nearly 4 in 10 Atlanta residents, 37%, were Black. The metro area with the highest share of Black residents are DC with 28%, Philadelphia, my birthplace, 23%, and Detroit, 23%. Between 2010 and 2023, Dallas had the largest percent increase in Black residents at 47%. On the other hand, Detroit, 0%, Los Angeles, -1, which means more Black residents left Los Angeles than moved in. They had no growth. So, and although the Black population declined within the District of Columbia, it still grew by 3% in the Washington larger metro area. The Black population in the US is relatively young. You know what? I agree with that. That's one thing. Even when you watch videos online, there are a lot of young people in our community, lots of them, lots of them. And you can see it. I see it even when I go out. It's our young people are everywhere, everywhere. So the median age of Black Americans is 32.6 years. That is young. That is young. Trust me, white people, because they're not having babies, their percentage is way higher. They got more of an older population, and we got more of a younger one. So 32.6 years is the median, meaning half of the nation's Black population was younger than that, and half of the older, which should be the case. It should always be more younger people than older people. And the way we are grouped, it's perfect. That's the way it should be. It should always be more younger people. By comparison, the median age of Americans who do not identify as Black is 39.4. Right. That's about right. They're more close to 40. And 27% of all Black Americans under the age of 18, a higher share among non-Black Americans, 21%. Looking at the various groups of Black Americans, the median age in 2023. So for a single race, so these are people that identify as Black and nothing else, is 35.4 years. Black Hispanic, 21.7. Those are your Afro-Latinos. And multiracial, non-Hispanic, 19.5%. So that is the breakdown. Educational attainment among Black Americans continue to rise. Yes, we are actually the fastest growing in getting college degrees. Did y'all know that? We are the fastest growing, despite the fact that they always put Asians out there. They're not growing like we are, but they always seem to get more shine when it comes down to college education than we do. So, Black adults ages 25 and older, 8.2 million people had earned at least a bachelor's degree. That went up from 14.5% in 2000. So we went from 14.5 of having bachelor's degrees in the country up to 27%. Growing shares of Black women and men alike earned at least a bachelor's degree, but Black women have made greater gains. That's true. But when you look at the numbers, Black men have not done bad either. And it depending on the state, there are more Black men in college than white men. And I can understand how that would happen. They got privilege. Some of them feel they don't need any more education beyond high school. They got their privilege. So anyway, um in 2023, 30.1% of Black women ages 25 and older had earned at least a bachelor's degree, about double the share in 2000. So in 2000, 15.4% of the people holding degrees were Black women. And that has jumped up to 30.1% as of 2023. Black men, 23.6% of Black men in the same age range had earned at least a bachelor's degree in 2023. And that is up from 13.4% in 2000. Black Americans are less likely than other Americans to be married. And you know what, y'all? One thing we always overlook about that is there were a lot of things bred into us, and the cycle has never been broken. And this is why you'll see so many single mothers, because and the men will just get up and go, and the women will be raising the child by themselves. A lot of that was bred into us. You got to go back and look at the history we have gone through. Nobody else, none of these other races were never placed in breeding farms. Okay, our people were. Y'all, when I started reading about the breeding farms, that was a horrible, horrible existence. And America over the years have covered it completely up. You don't even know where they are. They have literally covered up every single breeding farm that was in this country. That existence was horrible. Okay. When I was reading about it, some of the girls, were sent there as soon as they got their cycle. They were sent to the breeding farms. Y'all, I kid you not, when I was reading about it, it was not unusual for the girls to get raped multiple times in one day. It was that bad on the breeding farms. It was that bad. And it wasn't just our men doing it. A lot of these demons were on the breeding farm just to get at our women, get at our little girls and women. All right. So they were full participants on the breeding farm too. And it was horrible. When I read some of the stuff that went on in the breeding farms, it was horrible. So when other groups say, oh, there's no father in the home, just always remember they didn't go through that. Our people did. Our people were taught not to value family because we were sold off, constantly being sold off. And it was rare for them to sell the mother and child together. They would usually split the family up. So it was hard for our people to even be a family unit back then. It was damn near impossible. So no other group that talks about us not having fathers in the home, none of them have gone through anything that horrific. So yes, it has gone down through the generations. I wish it didn't, but it did. So yeah, so when and this government has been a full participant in that situation. Don't let this government off the hook. They co-signed a lot of things that happened to us, and they still do to this very day. So other groups did not experience it. So, they have no understanding of what we have gone through and all the negative things that have been passed down through the generations, including all the fear. Like you see a lot of fear. Oh, I'm afraid this is going to happen. I'm afraid that is going to happen. That's not even a normal. When you read our Bible, that's really not a normal behavior for us to have. But because a lot of things were bred into us, you see it, you know? So just remember that when other people talk about what's not, oh, y'all don't have the man in the household, and never forget mass incarceration is going on. And it went on back then too. When they had the convict leasing program, they had a bunch of black men in prison. So mass incarceration, I know we always talk about Bill Clinton and all that, but actually it predates Bill Clinton by a few centuries. So let me move on. I think I babbled long enough. All right. So let me get back into this article because I got more to tell you. Okay. So half of the adults, 48%, had never been married, compared with 29% of non-Black adults. And that number is even rising in the white community. They're not getting married like they used to. In fact, you'll see videos on here of white women saying they can't even get a date. Their men ain't even asking them out on a date. So it's happening to them too. Black men in 2023 were more likely than Black women to be married, 36% versus 29%. In turn, Black women were more likely than Black men to be divorced, separated, or widowed, 25% versus 15%. So, about 2 in 10 married Black adults, 18%, are married to someone who is not Black. This includes 21% of married Black men and 13% of Black women. These shares only consider those whose spouses live in the same household. Married Black women were more likely to marry a Black man. So, and 87% versus 79%. So these are Black women that are married to Black men. This includes spouses who are a single race, who just declare themselves as Black and nothing else. It also includes Black women that are married to biracial men and married to Afro Latinos. All right. So, and see, that's what my husband is. He's got an American mother and he has an Afro Latino father. That's where the name Cabrera comes from. His father is a very dark-skinned Afro Latino, and his mother was born in this country. So that I know a lot of people always wonder where that name came from. That's where that name came from. And it was funny because I guess somebody called themselves trying to be funny, and they said to me, um You should be scared. Y'all might get deported. The name Cabrera, we ain't gonna get deported. First of all, I'm from a descendants of slaves on both my mother and father's side. My maiden name was Thomas, Thomas, and he he has a mother. His mother comes out of the South, and his father was Afro Latino. He's now deceased. He's not living anymore. And that's where he got his last name from, you know? You know who his father looked like? Do y'all remember that episode of Good Times where JJ was going to join a gang and one of the members, his name was Mad Dog? That's what his father looked like. His father looked like Mad Dog. He really did. He looked very similar in features to that character. That's probably the best I can describe it. If you remember that episode on Good Times, he was probably the closest that looked like his father. Yeah. He looked like Mad Dog. Yeah, he had the afro. His father had the big afro and everything. Yes. Mhm. All right. So anyway, let's get back to this. I don't want to go veer too far off track. Okay. So black households had a median annual income of $54,000 in 2023. That included median incomes of 65,800 for multicultural black households and 60,000 for Afro-Latino households and 52,800 for single race black households. All right, y'all. So, despite every we are growing. And I think we've been growing all along. And I still think, they're now saying we're 48.3 million. I really think we're probably double or even quadruple that number. One thing, um, oh, Joy DeGruy. Oh, he was. That's his sister? Okay. Joy DeGruy. Yeah, I know who she is. I watched some of her videos. Not recently, but I have watched some of her videos. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, they have always they did admit it. The US Census did admit it a couple of years ago, and I did a video on it. They admitted that they have been overcounting white people in this country, and they have been undercounting the black population. They admitted it a few years back. So I know our numbers have never been right. It has never ever been right. Mhm. But of course, they've been trying to keep our numbers down. I guess if you can't do it physically, then you try to put on paper that we're a much lower number. And I think that's the game they've been playing all along. We can go out here and tell we got a pretty big size population out here, but on paper, you can manipulate anything and just say, "Hey, it's only 20 million of you in the country." You know what I mean? And I think that is the biggest game they've been playing with the numbers. All right. Mhm. All right. So let me see who I can thank here. Dark skin brother, thank you as usual for your support. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you for the second super sticker. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the super chat. um I bet Jane Elliott sitting behind closed doors along with a bunch of others mad then a mofo. I don't like Jane Elliott. I really don't like Jane Elliott. I know, a lot of people have had her on their channels. I don't like her because she got on that bandwagon like Elizabeth Warren. Oh, well, you shouldn't get reparations unless the natives get it. They think they're on to something saying that to us. And actually, that doesn't even make sense because we know the natives have always gotten reparations. In fact, they've gotten reparations multiple times in this country. So why should we wait on them getting reparations yet once again while we get nothing? Did you make any other group out here wait for another group to get reparations first? So what the hell are you trying to pull when it comes down to us? That just sounds like classic 101 racism. Oh, we got to wait for another non-black group to get reparations before we can get it. Well, how come you didn't do that with anyone else? That's just racism, plain and simple. And I didn't like her saying that. I didn't care for her anyway. She's another one, making her all her money off of the backs of our people, talking about our people. So anyway, Carlette, thank you so much for your support in the super chat. Since I have returned to college, I see many Black men and women attending, and still we rise despite the circumstances. That is so true. Thank you for your support. Dark Skin Brother, thank you for the super chat. Them devils couldn't deport us if they tried. If they could, they would have been uh, they would have been sent us away. Yeah, yeah, they would have sent us away. They did attempt to do it. If you remember, right after slavery, Liberia, but they don't want us all gone. They talk all that go back to Africa and all that mess, but they don't want us gone. Look at how they're reacting when they're not getting our support anymore. They damn near crying on these videos. Where's the black people at? Where's the black people? How come you're not out here with us? They almost in a flood of tears just on us not going out and protesting with them and showing no kind of support. You know, they're already falling apart. So, they talk all that crap, but they really don't want us gone. Mm-mm. $10 super chat. Thank you, dark skin brother. Thank you once again. They have played with the numbers in all aspects of life. Yes, they have. They have done it a lot. Mike C, thank you so much for the super chat. The folks can't their dwindling birth rate numbers anymore. No, they can't do nothing. No, they can't. And that's another reason why the numbers are being manipulated because we are growing and they are not. Okay, that's the biggest reason why that's happening. Mhm. I don't know if y'all haven't seen some of the boycotts that are coming up, the economic boycotts. I think there's one coming up on March 5th where we don't spend our money out here in the economy. And I'm going to actually do that one. I'm not going to spend any money on March 5th. And if they have more, which they do have some more coming up, I'm just going to do them. If I can come across all of the ones they're going to have, I'll post it in the community tab. But I'm all for an economic boycott. It's sure working on Target real well. Our people ain't going nowhere near a Target anymore, and I'm loving it. They are crying for us to come back. Does that sound like a people or a group that's trying to get rid of us? No, no. And plus, they know they can't do without us. They can talk all that crap all they want. They can't. Let's see here. Carlette, thank you for the super chat. We are minding our own black business. We need to worry about ourselves, not them folks. Yeah, you absolutely right. I wholeheartedly agree on that. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like Jane Elliott has exploited the things that have happened to us. And she's made a lot of money, y'all. Make no mistake about it. That woman has made a lot of money talking about us. She's made more money talking about us than we have talking about us, you know? And I get tired of that. Tim Wise, too. He makes more money talking about black people than if we talk about black people, we don't get nowhere near the money they're getting. But they have learned how to play the game and exploit the situation. You know, they're not taking their money and helping the black community. They are just exploiting the things that have happened to us and they're profiting off of it. How many times have you heard about Jane Elliott or Tim Wise giving back to our community? No, they're just making money off of it. But if we talk about the same thing, you're not going to make any money. That's the way it is. But they'll make all kinds of money and get all kinds of attention talking about us. I mean, that's pretty jacked up. Somebody that's not one of us can make more money talking about us than the actual people that have lived the experiences. It will never make sense to me. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead. One of many ancestral reflections. Africans and Caribbeans are doing the same thing. Yeah, they are. Everybody can profit off of everything we do, but we can't profit off of it. I mean, it's unbelievable how things are in this country for real. Lion Pride, thank you for the super chat. Shalom and stay strong. Mishkapa. Um, Lisa Cabrera, Big Levi, Big Judah, Spiritual Light Passing Through, and Moriel. Thank you very much for the super chat. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll definitely come together and do this again on another topic. Shalom, family.